Hey guys, how are you doing? So it is just coming up to 6 o'clock. I'm going to put on some music whilst we are waiting. You've got your checklist of what it is that you guys need to get ready today for some of our boredom busting espresso martinis. So without further ado, I am waiting for our hostess with the mostess, Hetty, from the incredible Dose, who's going to push her magic button and that's going to appear, and then when it does, she's going to go and do a little split screen with me. It's all very technical, and then we're going to move forward. So how's everyone doing? I hope you're okay. It is a miserable day out there. Big hello to everyone. Just a recap on what it is that you guys are going to need today. Now, I can see that I'm in a bar, okay? So this isn't exactly me doing it at home, but I've tried to get all the ingredients that you guys are going to need so that if you were at home and you were kind of looking into your cupboards and looking for a bit of inspiration, it's the kind of thing that we can kind of do. So just give me 2 secs. Let's go. And I think without further ado, we have coming up the very, very lovely Hetty. I feel like that's that kind of piece in Eurovision Song Contest has gone by. Hetty, can you hear me? Come in, Hetty, are you there? Says she's waiting. We're going to see what she's got. Lots of waves to everybody. I hope you guys are okay. If any of you are homeschooling, the struggle is real. I can feel your pain. You deserve a drink. And if you're not homeschooling and you're just simply kind of working and existing in this crazy time, what are we? Lockdown 1, 2, 3, 4, I lose count. Then this is for you, okay? So we're going to grab a bunch of ingredients today and, yeah, kind of make some lovely espresso martinis. Just waiting for the lovely Hetty to jump on board. So give me some time here whilst we sort this all out. Let's try again. There we go. You know, you would think after kind of almost a year of Zoom calls, I would be spectacular at kind of like this type of interaction via a screen, where you should normally be the other side of the bar where you are now, and I should be here making you drinks. But unfortunately, it looks like we're kind of not quite there yet with all of those bits and bobs. Hetty is just about to dial in, our lovely hostess from the magical Dose. Dose, I don't know if you know, are the purveyors and the inventors of that wonderful phrase, healthy hedonism. I don't know about you, but I live my life by it. What makes you happy, right? All in moderation, try and find some fun from wherever you can find some fun. So I certainly try and follow their workouts and their wonderful regimes. I know I have a face for radio and I'm 104 years old. But however, I do follow their regimes, and I love that idea of kind of like that kind of work out, look after yourself, but have a little bit of fun at the same time. So just bear with me one more time. We're going to try this again. Let's see if we can get a request from Hetty there.
Hello.
Hey, there you are.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I was trying to join for a while, but I've been listening to you passing away, and yeah, it's brilliant. So thank you.
Pleasure. As you can see, I was kind of filling in time like a presenter that had been thrown to with a magical technical glitch. Hey, can you hear me? Come in, Hetty.
I know, and it kept freezing. And anyway, like you said, after months of Zoom calls, we should have mastered this by now. But here we are. I'm sporting the Dose hoodie, if everyone can see. And today it's all about dopamine. So dopamine, for those that don't know, it's our motivation molecule. It's what drives us towards our goals. It's kind of like, I see it as like our energy, happy hormone. So I always call Shara, my business partner, like our dopamine machine, because she just fires herself up every morning with coffee and like smashes out emails and achieves a lot with her day. Anyway.
Hetty, can I just jump in? If anyone's met Shara, she's, you know, dopamine in a bottle. Did you know that this morning she woke up and went on the heath at 7 a.m. in the freezing cold just to kind of like get her groove on for the day? What a lady.
She's an inspiration. So yeah, so it's our motivation molecule. It's all about energy, drive, and it's also about anticipation of a reward. So that morning coffee that we all look forward to, that's dopamine driving that. That evening tipple, it's driving that too. So we thought we'd combine both those amazing pleasures for this for this masterclass tonight. So we're going to be mixing a espresso martini with yourself and get that dopamine hit firing. But like with all things, it's all about moderation, isn't it? So we always say, it's, you got to find the balance. So I think something you're going to touch on, Will, is maybe doing something mindful while you're having your espresso martini. Maybe it's a crossword, or maybe it's, I don't know, something you'll be more creative than that. But just, it's all about moderation. So take it easy.
Hetty, with all of that, and you know what, I'm going to throw you a curveball here, Hetty. I was thinking about it, and I was thinking we should probably do a kind of non-alcoholic espresso martini tonight.
Nice, I like that.
So I've kind of got a little bit of some ideas there, and I know I didn't put it in the ingredient list, but it just came to me in one of those wonderful revelations we have when we have our coffee. And if anybody is getting ready with a bit of prep for what we're trying to do today, we're going to do a non-alcoholic espresso martini with, and don't kind of look at me strangely here.
Oh,
I know, right? I know.
I've actually got that in my cupboard.
I figured that everyone would have a little bottle of Ribena or something like that.
Yeah, let's get our dopamine firing with blackcurrant juice. Woohoo! Anyway, I'm gonna bow out now because you're the main event. But just to contextualize, this is all about happy hormones. Every week we're going to be tapping into a new hormone. Today's dopamine. Next week it's oxytocin, which is the love hormone. Anyway, over and out. Over to you. And I've got to leave this thing. Do I just press the X button? I mean, is it that simple?
I don't know. I guess so. Hey, if you disappear, I'll say goodbye, Hetty.
Okay, say goodbye. All right, bye.
Bye. Okay. Everyone's waving. I'm waving back to everybody as well. So without further ado, like Hetty said, D for dopamine, we've got the lovely espresso martini. Dick Bradsell allegedly made this up, and I'm pretty inclined to believe that he did. I believe it was called, and if there are kids in the room, forgive me, it was a wake you up to F you up, okay? And the idea was that you're kind of combining caffeine and alcohol, two wonderful bedfellows, and you're creating this drink with an incredible amount of stimulus behind it. So, we're going to do an espresso martini, the kind of classic one. We're going to look at stuff that you might have in your kitchen cabinet. We're going to go a little bit off piece, maybe using things like spiced rum and various other ingredients that you may have around the house. And then very lastly, we're going to touch on something a little experimental, might not be for everybody, but it's going to be a non-alcoholic espresso martini. And we will be using some Ribena and some CBD. Not for everybody. You don't have to do it if you're not comfortable doing it, but I thought I would throw a little curveball at the very, very end. So let's start with our basics. Espresso martini, we're looking for three things. We're looking for coffee, we're looking for alcohol, and we're actually looking for some sugar in there. Unlike others, there's not really kind of much citrus going on, although with ours today, we're going to grab ourselves an orange and we're going to try and create that first espresso martini a little bit like one of those wonderful Terry's chocolate oranges. So indulgent, luxurious, layered with texture, and something that's kind of like a real thank you to you for whatever you've done that day. We're going through hard times. It's a nice pat on the back, and it's a very easy thing to do when you're at home. So first of all, we need to have something to make it in. So I was looking around, and you've probably got those kind of like tippy-toppy cups at home. Thermos flasks, also very, very good. I'm pretty sure that most of you probably have one of those protein shakers or something like that. Totally usable as well. Or if you wanted to, you could very, very easily on your next shopping trip or add it to that Ocado basket, or even go to that naughty man in the sky, Mr. Amazon, and order one and it will arrive tomorrow. Shakers, they are very inexpensive. You can either have a two-piece shaker like this, which is the kind of one that you kind of like see hunky bartenders doing their thing, being super cool, or you can get a three-piece shaker, which just has a little top on and you can pour things out very easily that way. A little bit simpler. They're all good. I think someone also said, keep cup for the win. Yes, Shara, I agree. Very, very much so. Only got a protein shaker, doesn't matter. Protein shaker is the way forward. And then lastly, maybe a jam jar. I don't know if they are kind of like, good currency anymore, but you can still use a jam jar. So we've got our shaker, which I'm just going to put over there. we are going to now look at our second ingredient, which is going to be the coffee. Now, I have just grabbed this cafetiere. If you're anything like me, you know, I'll kind of make a cafetiere and there'll be a little bit of coffee kind of like hanging around. And that cold coffee is actually something you can use. If you don't want to use some cold coffee and you want to go kind of like full on kind of barista, you know, you can grab some beans, freshly grind them, make that really, really, really good cup of coffee. Although some of the best bars in the world use, where is it now? Oh, here we go. Some of the best bars in the world use a kind of a Nescafe, a granule, okay? So when it comes to the coffee quality, it does matter, but you are just looking for, you know, warm and wet, bit of brown, caffeine-y kind of coffee liquid, because you are going to be shaking it and adding things to it, okay? So the caffeine is important, but just saying that there's a lot of the top bars who use some granulated coffee for their espresso martinis. And then lastly, I have one of these at home. I prefer the Lavazza one, but there's like, you know, Mr. George Clooney and his wonderful Nespresso one. I've got these. These are meant to be the recyclable, biodegradable ones, so that's kind of making me feel a bit better. That would be great. You get a nice shot of coffee in one of those. Okay, so like a double espresso. Then we are moving on to some of the ice. Now, with regards to the ice, you've got a couple of options here. You can go and you can buy some ice. Okay, that could be the easiest way for you guys to do it. Or you could go to your freezer and you could grab yourself a tray of ice. Now, I personally like those quite chunky looking ice kind of molds that you get. Okay, again, you can go online very simply and you can do that. They kind of come like this. They say that if you want to have that kind of that clarified ice, you use some boiling water and spend some time with it. For me, do you know what? I'm not actually that hung up on the, you know, sort of the way that the ice looks. I think if you're blindfolded and you taste ice, you know, that's a little bit cloudy or ice that's completely clear, it tastes the same to me. But a big chunky block is quite good because it gets your drink very cold, but it doesn't dilute the drink. And that's kind of like where you want to get to with all of that. Or, and this is a really, really good tip, okay? So if you sort of like dual screening and you're thinking, what is this guy talking about? I'm a little bit bored now. This is a really good tip, okay? The tip that I'm going to give you for this section on ice is I'm ordering a lot of takeaways. And I don't know if you're ordering a lot of takeaways, but I get all of these takeaway boxes. Now, I think that I'm going to kind of put them in the dishwasher and use them and enjoy them, okay? But I end up throwing them away. If you keep a couple of those, okay, so you can see here, this is just one of those standard takeaway. Fill that with water, put it in the freezer, usually a day, and then when it's frozen, you put that out and then you have a block of ice, okay? You're kind of now into cool home bartender territory. And with that block of ice, you can get a bread knife, be very, very careful, obviously, and you can kind of chop that up and you get these lovely, big, satisfying chunks of ice, okay? So don't throw those away. They can be very, very useful. And those chunks of ice, you can use them for mixing drinks, but they're also really nice for that gin and tonic that you have because you kind of get a long, big, chunky iceberg of a sliver that you can put in those highballs and they just look really, really good and they're fantastic and very easy to use. So to recap, coffee, lots of different ways of getting coffee. Just get some coffee. Whatever coffee you get, it's going to be absolutely fine. Then we've got our ice. We've seen lots of different things with our ice. We can see our ice now, okay? We're going to move on to the booze. I'm going to start now. Espresso Martini vodka. There's tons of vodkas on the market. You find a vodka that works for you, okay? In the brief history of vodka, we have this this area called the vodka belt. And I guess if I was like a weather person, I would sort of talk about Scandinavia, Russia, and Poland. Scandinavia and Russia tend to have a wheat-based vodka. Don't worry, all vodka, and I'm going to repeat this, all vodka is gluten-free, okay? It doesn't matter where it comes from, it is gluten-free. So you've got these two here, and they are kind of like Scandinavia and Russia, they're making a wheat-based vodka. The Russians tend to obsess about the purity of their vodka. That's kind of like their thing. And then just below them, you've got Poland, where they are predominantly making vodkas from either potatoes or rye. Now, rye, unlike wheat I find a little bit sweet, kind of caramelizes a little bit when they're making it. I don't know, I just find it a bit sweeter. The rye has a lovely peppery undertone, maybe a kind of a bit of citrus kind of like coming through there. Lots of beautiful rye vodkas on the market. And then lastly, potato vodka, which is a bit of a dying art form. There's sort of not very many people making potato vodka anymore. Potato vodka is synonymous with Poland. It's the way they used to make vodka. I'm a traditionalist. I like potato vodka. It's got a creamy, buttery mouthfeel, a bit of viscosity to it, and it's probably the way forward when you're making a drink. So for me, I quite like a Polish potato vodka, but that's my cup of tea, okay? You can use any vodka that you want to, absolutely any vodka that you want to. Now, if you don't have vodka at home, there's a couple of others that you can kind of like swap in and out with, okay? So there's tons of liqueurs and booze and stuff like that, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab one that is pretty much widely available. It's kind of quite popular at the moment. Spiced rum. Spiced rum, this one's from Cornwall. Very easy, it goes into espresso martini. It just lifts it a little bit. Like the name suggests, it has some lovely kind of like vanilla spices in there, some allspices, and it's very, very interesting, very, very nice to have in your espresso martini, but you don't have to. It's just a variation to be able to do that. So, recap again. Coffee. Okay, we've talked about the coffee, whether it's a cafetiere or a capsule or some Nescafe, you've got that covered. Shakers, whatever you've got, okay? Whether it's a protein shaker, a regular cocktail shaker, a thermos flask, your child's bottle, don't give your child espresso martinis, but you know, we're just saying, just find something to shake with. Then we're going to move on to the booze. The booze is either going to be vodka or, for me, spiced rum. But to be honest, you can use pretty much most spirits with this espresso martini, okay? Even stuff in the back of the cupboard, experiment. That is what you should be doing to be having a little bit of fun at the moment. So we've got all of those. Then we're going to now look at the sugar. Now, on the market, there's a ton of sugars that you can buy. So if you go to your local coffee, hipster coffee joint, they will kind of like say, would you like some sort of syrups with that? Starbucks are very famous for that. They use this kind of thing. So this is a vanilla syrup, very cheap, very easy to buy. Or if you wanted to, you could make yourself your own sugar syrup. By taking your sugar syrup, all you need to do is find an empty bottle, fill it half of sugar, and then fill it half with boiling water. That will be your friend probably for about half a year. And you can use that sugar syrup. The sugar will dissolve in the hot water, okay? And you can use that. Hello! You can use that in all of your drinks from now on, okay? So find that empty bottle, okay? Something with a lid, ideally. Put some white unrefined sugar. If you're feeling posh, some nice Demerara, whatever it is, okay? And then put it in there, half sugar, half boiling water, and then just let that kind of start to mix beautifully. And then Mina Hallam Graf 11. Can I get a shout out? I feel like I'm on a pirate radio circa 1990. Of course you can get a shout out. So that's one sugar element. Then we have got that wonderful agave. Really, really nice. You could put a bit of that in. You could put some honey in. There's lots of different things you can use for all of those. So why don't we kick off with our espresso martini? So I'm going to grab myself some ice, okay? So we've got our ice here. Now, I'm just going to chuck in a single block. I mean, we could do two. It's just going to make it a little bit colder. They're big, chunky blocks. So what we're looking for is that the drink doesn't dilute too much, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to get that ice, and by shaking it up, to get it really, really cold, okay? So I'm going to now kind of pour myself a nice splash. Now, here I'm kind of like thinking, what would a double espresso be? Now, you can get a measuring cup out. I mean, we've even got kind of these things called jiggers, okay? You've got 50 mil, you've got 25 mil. If you want to do that, but let's treat this cocktail making a bit like, you know, when you're at home and you're making your kind of your beautiful meals at home, or you're maybe baking, you put a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you kind of start to build up this instinctual kind of way of making cocktails. So I'm going to do a double espresso, okay? So it's kind of, there we go. That's kind of doubly. There we go, maybe a bit more. Perfect. So we've got our double espresso in there. Now I am going to grab myself some vodka. How about I make a shout out? What do you guys want? Do you want me to make the first one with vodka or spiced rum? Okay, just quickly give me a shout out of which one you want. And whilst you're doing that, I'm just going to grab myself a glass. Okay, so just tell me, vodka or spiced rum, vodka or spiced rum? Spiced rum, Kate. KBT is the winner, okay? Spiced rum it is. Rum, rum, rum. Look at you guys. Rum, okay, rum. I get it. You want your rum. You want your rum now, but you're going to be coming back to the bar and you're going to want the vodka a little bit later on. I know what you guys are like. You're going a little off piste, but when it comes down to it, you're going to want to come back to the vodka. I can feel that. Okay, so there we go. Double measure, so 50 mil. I just like to kind of like do this a little bit by eye and hand. So there we go. Bit more, bit more. There we go. Now, oh no, that's the wrong thing. There we go. So now we've got our coffee. We have got our rum in there, and we need to find a little bit of sugar. So I am going to grab myself a little bit of this sugar syrup, okay? Remember, you could use a little bit of the sugar syrup that you're going to make at home. You could use a little bit of the agave if you wanted to. And if I didn't have kind of the vanilla sugar syrup, again, this is about what you guys need to do to find it in your cupboard. Anyone like to bake? Yep, yep, yep. Vanilla essence, okay? That's also kind of cool because you can put a little splash of that in and it just livens it up, gives it a nice little sort of layer of complexity to it. So we have got that on there like so. And we are shaking it up. Now, whilst we're shaking that up, okay, all we're doing is introducing those flavors to each other. But more importantly, thank you, Kayla Janway. I appreciate it. What we are doing at the moment is actually, you can see there on the side, okay, what we're doing is, can you see that sort of like that condensation? It's just getting colder and colder and colder, and I can feel it getting very, very cold. And if any bartenders are out there, okay, and would like to have a bit of sympathy, you will know, okay, that when you've had to do a party or you've worked behind a bar and there's a table that's come in and said, Espresso Martini, and the next table hears it, oh, I'll have one, I'll have one, I'll have one. And then suddenly you're doing like 25 Espresso Martinis. You know how it gets really cold, your hands, you kind of think. So what we've got is, oh, sorry, I should probably talk about this. Here is a Hawthorne strainer. It's got a little bit of spring around the outside, okay? And it fits into your shaker. That's about it, really. But if you didn't have a Hawthorne strainer, okay, let's make this simple. So what I would do is I would normally pour it like that, and then would be our drink. If you don't have a Hawthorne strainer, okay, I'm going to put this in the sink just over here. If you don't have a Hawthorne strainer, okay, what we're going to do now is we're just going to use the back of the tin, okay, and we're just going to stop the ice from going in there. Okie dokie, right. And now you can see we have got our archetypal Espresso Martini, okay? This is looking sexy. It's got that lovely head of cream on it, okay? Now, that sugar, okay, sugar syrup, I find in an Espresso Martini really helps to kind of like build up that lovely head on top of an Espresso Martini. And it's the kind of thing that after dinner you can bring out and make it very, very nice indeed. Now, a couple of things we can do to the Espresso Martini right now, okay? Thank you, Shara, I appreciate it, looks quite good, is I am going to grab myself an orange, okay? And just on the top there, okay, I have done a little spritz, okay, of the oil. Now you're thinking coffee, orange, they work together quite well, okay? They're quite nice. Now, put that to one side. We have got our, I think, kind of little interesting twist on this one, okay? We've got our Espresso Martini, and then we've got a little bit of orange on there. So we've got that kind of cacao coming through, that coffee coming through. We've got a bit of orange. We talked about reference of kind of a Terry's chocolate orange or something like that. If you don't like a Terry's chocolate orange, I totally understand, and we don't have to do that kind of thing, okay? There is a prize, by the way, which I'm going to have to remember about. But I think, remember, follow Dose, follow Ladies and Gentlemen Bar, okay, which I think is kind of in the bio and stuff. And we're actually going to be giving you guys away, I'm pretty sure, a bottle or two of vodka, okay? I'm gonna try and remember what that was, but you're definitely going to win something. So follow, win, share, all of that jazz, and you're going to win. So thank you. So we've got our Espresso Martini looking kind of cool. Did you guys see these guys? Where do you see them? Tony's chocolate. I wish I had one that hadn't been opened, but you know what? I ate some. So there we go. Don't judge me. It's cold. I eat chocolate when it's cold. It makes me feel better about life. Anyway, Tony's chocolate has been in the news. He's kind of cool because he called out all of the chocolate being made and sold in the supermarkets, and they are kind of engaging in not very fair employment practices, you know, kind of where they make chocolate. So, you know, hats off to Tony. I quite like his chocolate. I don't know the guy. I know nothing to do with him, but I think he's kind of like a cool guy. So what we have got now is we've got the Espresso Martini. We've got everything. Okay, cool. Someone's just saying something. Then what we are going to do is we're going to just put a tiny bit of chocolate on top. Okay. And there we go. Now, look, that might look to you, hopefully, like quite indulgent, okay? But this is the time, guys, to be nice to yourself, to be indulgent to yourself. You know, if you can do it, and you can do an Espresso Martini to the next level with orange and chocolate and cacao and rum and vodka and all of these things, then that's what you guys need to be doing. Okay, you need to be treating yourself because, you know, now's the time to do it. We're all locked in, we're all in the same position, or kind of like not a great position. So, you know, hopefully kind of this is a nice little pick-me-up. So I'm gonna, excuse me, hopefully you guys are gonna be doing it as well. There is a well-known Sunday program where they go, cheers. So cheers to all of you guys. Cheers, let's try it. The chocolate and the orange and all of that coming together. It's nice and cold. I know that I should probably only have one of those, but I could probably have a few of those. Now, touching on to my kind of school night consumption, I don't know if anybody kind of does this, but a few kind of people who come down to the bar, the bars that we have in London, what they do is on a school night, they might come together or by themselves, they'll read a book, they'll have a cocktail, they'll have some me time. But there are also people who come down, and I think this is totally valid in terms of its mindfulness. They will come down, and don't laugh at me here, but they will build some Lego, okay? Or they will do a jigsaw puzzle. And they will do that kind of by themselves or with a friend, and they'll just be kind of like engaged in putting things together. They're not talking, they're just focused on something. They are drinking, they're not drinking to get drunk. They're just kind of allowing it to kind of like, you know, just brush away the cobwebs a little bit and make them feel kind of better. So that whole thing of mindfully drinking is about the, I guess, from my interpretation, the amount that you're drinking, but also the way that you're drinking, you know, whether it's that lovely kind of like cocktail and a book, or perhaps kind of like a cocktail and you're making Lego, or kind of jigsaw puzzles, or drawing, or sketching, or anything, okay? It's a really cool thing to do, and something that I would definitely recommend that people do if they can. Is everybody okay if we now move on to the non-alcoholic version? How does that suit everybody? Is that okay? Cool. I'm going to kind of clear the decks and we're going to redo everything, and you know, that's going to be cool. I'm going to do that now. If anybody wants more detailed information, you can just follow us. Either ask the ladies at Dose or Ladies and Gentlemen Bar, or whatever it is that you need, we can do that kind of thing. So let's put these guys to one side. They were nice, they were fun, we had a good time. And let's clear this one. Don't worry, it won't go to waste. I'm going to drink it later on. There we go. I don't think we're going to need that. Right, Espresso Martini, the non-alcoholic version. Now, when I thought about this, I thought to myself, a non-alcoholic Espresso Martini is like a Frappuccino. I mean, what's the point? Is it, you know, it's a bit boring. But how could we make it kind of interesting? So one of the things I was thinking was, how about we created a kind of a Black Forest Gâteau, okay? So those cakes, those torts, those wonderful Central to Eastern European desserts that are layered up. And it's the kind of thing that it's outside, it's cold, a bit like at the moment. And you kind of eat these cakes, but you don't feel guilty because you know what? You need the cake to survive the weather, okay? So you can eat those cakes. So that Black Forest Gâteau, okay? So we are kind of in dry Jan at the moment, towards the end of it. If you've done the whole dry Jan, bravo to you. Well done. Congratulations. If you've done a little bit of it, that's great as well. You know, it's all about moderation. Don't beat yourselves up. So we'll recap on everything that we need for a non-alcoholic one. Much like the Espresso Martini we just made with the spiced rum, or the vodka if we wanted to. We're going to use coffee as our base. Where you get that coffee, could be the cafetiere, could be some of these kind of like little eco pods that you put into your Nespresso machine. It could be anything at all. So where you get your coffee from, let's start there. Could be great coffee. Okay, we talked about this before, that a lot of the coffee in some of the best bars, when they make their Espresso Martini, is from granules. So like kind of a Nescafe. They use it for consistency, which means that every single Espresso Martini is the same. They make a batch of it in the fridge and they add it. You've never complained before. It's a little secret that I'm letting out. It doesn't make a bad Espresso Martini, so you can use any coffee that you guys want to. All right, so we got the Espresso Martini bit. Then, unlike the alcohol, okay, we don't have the alcohol in our non-alcoholic variety. Bing! The clue is in the name, a non-alcoholic Espresso Martini. So, what are we going to use? I've always thought that a really good modifier for non-alcoholic, and again, this isn't going to be for everyone, is CBD, cannabidiol, okay? You've seen it, they sell it in Holland and Barrett, you can buy it online. I'm going to kind of anecdotally kind of like tell you my experiences with that. Now, CBD, okay, you are mixing something which does have an effect on you. Anecdotally, people say that the feeling of CBD is like stepping out of a sauna. Okay, it's a bit like kind of that sense of kind of like glowing wellness that you kind of like get. Now, when you buy it in Holland and Barrett and various places like that, the dosage can be quite low. When you buy it in its raw form, where the dosage is quite high, it's quite bitter. So we have two kind of like very different ones here. We have 500 milligrams and we have 3,000 milligrams. Now, these are both quite high dosages. The 3,000 milligrams, you would definitely feel it. It's the type of thing that they would give to a patient who was perhaps going through some terminal pain or something like that. It is available, you can buy it, and it does have an effect, okay? So you've got your CBD, okay? And the oil is going to go as a replacement for the alcohol. We are then going to grab our shaker now. Remember, you can use anything that you want to. You can use kind of these thermos flasks. You can use your tippy-toppy cup. What was I looking at before? I was wondering. Still here, guys. Coffee cups. Should we try? Do you want to try and see if that works? I mean, like, if that works, that could be the best, kind of like the cheapest shaker we've ever had. Should we try that? I'm going to try that. Let's try that. So we're going to try a coffee cup here today with our non-alcoholic variety. So this time I'm just putting in a single ice cube. It's quite big, okay? I'm putting in, let's put this down, this little plunger, a double espresso's worth. There we go. Now, our replacement for alcohol is going to be some of this CBD. So I am going for the full pipette, okay? There we go, full pipette in there. You're going to have to play around with what works for you. It's not like alcohol where you probably have an understanding having grown up with it, but I would try and understand the CBD, the effect, how that's going to work for you guys. But usually, let's start with the whole pipette. It's 500 milligrams. For someone like me, I know that I probably would feel a little bit of that, but it would be, I don't know, kind of very much in the background. It wouldn't stop me from kind of like, I don't know, having a conversation with somebody or, you know, kind of like hopefully making, you know, sense. So we've got the CBD, we've got the coffee, and I thought just to lift it a little bit, okay, we talked about sugar syrup, okay? Do you remember we talked about sugar syrup? You can kind of buy things like vanilla sugar syrup. You can make your own sugar syrup. We've talked about that already. Ribena is sugar syrup, and it's full of berries and goodness, apparently, and loads of kind of like interesting things. So why don't we put a little bit of Ribena in there, all right? And that Ribena, there we go, going to counteract the coffee, the bitterness in the coffee. And that Ribena is going to give us that lovely kind of like rich, indulgent kind of cherry, berry, Black Forest Gatto kind of feel to it, okay? So there we go. I haven't tried this before, okay? The coffee cup. It was one of those ideas that came to me. The coffee cup, let's try and see if it works, all right? If it doesn't work and I get espresso martini all down my face, don't laugh at me. You know, kind of just say, he tried, for you to try and find a kind of a new example of a way to do things, all right? So if this doesn't work, give me a chance, give me a chance. Right. I keep on going down because we have a freezer. You guys also have a freezer. What is a little kind of touch of class to your espresso martini is that the glass, okay, you can see the condensation there, goes in the freezer, all right? So, holding this very, very tightly. Oh, I forgot there was a double hole. There we go. Try my best, guys, try my best. Now, I can also feel that that is getting quite cold, quite cold, quite cold. Okay, it's kind of interesting. Okay. Now, we talked about this before. If I had one of those wonderful things called a hawthorn, I could use those, okay? But all I want to do is stop the ice from going into the glass, all right? So I'm just gonna kind of like, you know what? Maybe I can just be really clever. Maybe I can use the spout that's already there. Oh, I don't get the phone. I don't get the phone, okay? Oh. Okay. My measures might have not been kind of like quite correct on that one, but you can see we kind of have this indulgent foaming, and I have to say the coffee's got a kind of like slightly pinkish cerise color to it. Okay, looks really interesting. I'm going to have a sip of it because I haven't tried this one before. It was an idea that came to me. The whole point, I think, with these lives is let's be creative. Let's not do the same thing all the time. Okay. Oh, ho, ho. Yeah, I like that. I tell you what, that could be my new go-to. I think with a few little modifications on that one. I'm not going to add any orange to that one. Oh, do you know what? That's adult. That is an adult. That's like taking Ribena, which is for kids, and the coffee, it's adult. Oh my God, that's good. That's really good. I would try that. Okay? You got a kind of sharpness with the coffee. The Ribena comes through. It's not like Ribena, like kids Ribena. It's with the coffee, it sort of feels grown up. Feels really good. Okay. Let's see if this changes it a little bit. Okay, we talked about being indulgent and stuff like that. Recap, I'm just kind of using this from Tony's chocolate. I saw some sort of press about him recently that he was just saying, you know, he was kind of calling out other chocolate companies because they weren't really being cool, to put it mildly. So I don't know, Tony. I've just picked up his chocolate. I think it's really cool. I like the packaging. Yeah, just a chocolate that I'm using. But you can use any chocolate that you want to. So let's try this with a little bit of sprinkle in it. It just needed that chocolate. It just needed that chocolate to bring the Ribena, the coffee, the chocolate. That's like a layered cake. That is good. Okay, that is really good. Oh, this is also good. Okay, sobering times. Yeah, but not that sobering. Cool. So, look at Charlotte. Charlotte replaced it with apple juice. Tastes amazing. That's what I'm talking about, Charlotte. You get 10, 10, 10 points, okay? Find stuff at home, okay, in the kitchen cabinet. Just chuck it in there, okay? You've just got to get booze, coffee, sugar, shake it up, see where you get to, all right? And then, yeah, let me know. I mean, send some, like, you know, kind of tag yourself in a picture. It is the time of the kitchen disco, so turn the music up loud, and anything that you can share, I think, will bring a smile to somebody's heart. So please share. You know, that's, I think, kind of the name of the game during lockdown. Now, I think I have, what are we? 42 minutes of a ranting madman trying to get you guys to kind of, you know, drink and be merry. I've given you two wonderful options. You've got the Espresso Martini with either some great Polish vodka, or we use some of that Cornish spiced rum. Or if you want to, you can use, hi Andrea, how are you? Having a good time? Living the dream? Should we do some of these later? Yes. So you've got your Espresso Martini with vodka, spiced rum, everything. And then we've got our non-alcoholic version with Ribena, CBD, optional, but I think it kind of adds a little bit of something to it. So hopefully you guys have got two fantastic projects this week for your drinking on a school night. And then by Friday and Saturday, you will be professionals, okay? Thank you very, very much for allowing me, Dose, to come down on your excellent channel. You are the doyens of healthy hedonism. I love you guys so much, and what you write about and what you do. It's a mantra that I live by, so I like it very, very much. To all of the Dose kind of, I don't know, fans, thank you for listening to me. If you guys need any more info, just send me a direct message and I will help out as much as I can. Be safe, be well, be nice to each other. I hope to see you guys again soon. Have a wonderful evening and make some lovely drinks. Bye, guys. See you later. Thanks. Bye. Woo.